What's up, you guys? It's RWB again. For today's build, we are going to build a homage of the Rolex Datejust with a blue dial and smooth bezel. This is going to be a hand-painted dial that will have my relative's name on it, all custom made for his birthday with parts all from AliExpress. Now, without further ado, let's do this build. Alright, you guys, let's get into this build. All parts have been ordered from AliExpress.com. I'm going to link all of the parts in the description below, so if you guys see anything that you like, I'm not affiliated or anything like that yet, but yeah, if you guys want to take a look, I'll have them in the link below. So right now I'm just going over the movement itself, checking to make sure everything's working, just giving it a quick once over and get ready for this build. So I just want to advise again, as with my last video, I am still very new at this watch building hobby. Started getting into watches about 2 years ago. I was gifted a watch for my wedding and I, just caught that bug. It was then I wanted to combine my love for art and watches, and now I'm doing these custom builds with hand-painted dials. Alright, so here is a close-up of the hand-painted dial. Just a quick name on there that I painted. Beautiful. Okay, next step is joining the dial and the movement together. Most of these dials come with extra feet on there, so you have to match the holes on the movement to the legs on the dial. So what you have to do is actually remove, as you can see there, sorry, it's a little out of frame, remove the legs that aren't needed on the dial. So what I usually do is just take some tweezers, kind of move back and forth with them until they snap. It does take just a little bit of pressure, and there it goes. There's the first one. As you can see, set it down right there. And then always just double check to make sure you are not removing the wrong legs. Otherwise, that's just gonna be bad news, and the dial's not gonna sit right. It may get loose. Basically, we want to make sure that these are the correct legs that are needed, or you have to remove the correct legs off the dial. All right, first leg is removed. Now I'm seeing where the hole is for the second leg and removing that leg off of the dial. This one came with 4 legs. We only need 2. Alright, continuing on with these legs, there's still a little bit of the legs poking off from when I removed it with the tweezers. So now what I'm doing is taking the Dremel and removing the excess of the legs. That way it's a nice smooth surface, meeting the dial perfectly with the movement itself. Okay, with the dial feet done, let's give it a quick blow off with the air blower. Make sure the work desk is nice and clean. Blow off the movement. Again, this is an NH35A movement. Now doing the final check to see if this movement does fit onto the dial, or the dial onto the movement, I should say. I did struggle a little bit here. It looks like one of the legs when I was trying to remove the non-needed legs, they were a little bent. So as you can see here, in about a minute, I am going to just adjust them a little bit with the tweezers. Yep, there I go, just a little bit of adjustment. Did I get it? Not quite. Wait, yep. Did I get it? No, I did not. Trial and error, folks. This is all trial and error. Alright, had to take off the dial again, inspect the legs. It did appear that one of them was still bent. So again, I am going to take the tweezers, just do a slight manual adjustment on there, and hopefully this works. Another adjustment, they were just a tad crooked on there. These things have to fit in precisely, otherwise your movement is going to be lopsided, and then the whole build's just in the trash. So it's all these little tweaks that you have to do, because even when you get these parts from AliExpress, they're not always, you know, they may be bent in transit, or, you know, a lot of things can go on with them. So all right, let's try this again. This time it looks like it fit. Give it another quick blow of the air blower, make sure everything's clean. And now I am going to test the rotor again. I'm going to spin this 20 full time around to see if I can get the date window to click. It's kind of hard to see in this, but as soon as it clicks, I will stop, because it has to be set to midnight in order for me to set the hands. Once the the date is set to midnight, that's when we can move on forward. All right, next up, give it another blow with the air blower. These surfaces have to be clean. You do not want any specks of dust on this thing before you put the movement in the case. You're gonna have to take it all apart again, and that's just no fun. All right, you guys, let's move on to the hands. Here's a closer shot of the dial itself. You can actually see the artwork a little bit better there. But yeah, now it's time for the hands. The most difficult part of any watch building process is setting these hands. So what I'm doing is taking Rodico, which is like silly putty, or putty, but for watchmakers and jewelers, putting the hand on the tip of the hour hand on the tip of the Rodico, and then using the dial pusher, or the hand pusher, excuse me, to push on the hour hand. As you can see, I have struggled with this many a times. This is not an easy task, because you have to be right up in there, and it looks big and easy to do, but no, it's not. All right, one more good push. It looks like it is now firmly in place. We have the hour hand set. All right, next up, the minute hand. Second to most difficult portion. You want to get this minute hand directly on midnight. Again, you use the Rodico to place it. And let's give it a quick test. I'm going to go all the way around 12 hours. Make sure the hands are not catching on one another. All right, looks like we are good to go. All right, guys, I'm going to be honest with you here. This took a lot longer than the quick snippet that I did here. This second hand probably took me a good hour to get set right. But after much struggle, I finally got it, so let's test it out. Look at that. The second hand is moving, folks. We did it. All right, then, with the hard part done, it's time to move on to the case. First, as with everything else, blow it off with some air. Make sure that it's nice and clean. Now take your set of tweezers and remove the sticker on the crystal itself. It is just a little tiny protective sticker to keep it protected when traveling and during handling and packaging. All right, let's give the sapphire crystal a little bit of a wipe down with the rag that I had from my previous builds. Sorry guys, I can't see it in the frame. That's my bad. Still a noob at this kind of thing. All right, with the case flipped over, I'm gonna remove the crown from the case back itself. Just unscrews like that. And then we are gonna attempt to place the movement in for the very first time. Remember, the date window will align with the crown side. As you can see, it's a little crooked, so I'm going to have to make a slight adjustment there. This is really starting to look good. Sorry, out of view again. I'll work on my camera skills on the next build. Quick blow of air. I'm going to move it over just a little bit, and I'm also trying to make sure that it is nice and snug. Nope, still needed to get some readjustments in there. think I got it, but just another adjustment. I think that's it. Let me take a look here. Man, that movement, or that dial looks great. All right, another blow of air. Now comes here another tricky part. This is where I am installing the crown onto the stem. Now the stems all come in the same size. You have to actually cut them down to size for the crown and stem to meet and, you know, stick onto the movement. Now out of frame, I actually did already cut it with those pliers after measuring it. And once I cut it, I use that Dremel to, you know, clean off any rough edges off of it. All right, screw it on. And then also don't forget the very last step with this. I didn't show it in here as well. Rookie mistake. You do have to put some Loctite on the end of the crown so that when you do unscrew it and screw it when you are winding the watch, the crown doesn't come loose and fall off. But I did do that, so put some Loctite on there and you're good to go. Or so I thought. See my finger there? I noticed a smudge. And that means it's on the inside of the case. So now we have to do this whole process over again. I gotta take out the crown, remove the stem. There's a little button on the back there. Take out the movement. And then pull it off and then clean away that little smudge that was on there. I don't know what it was, but it was gonna drive me nuts. And while I was at it, I did see a few tiny little specks that were on the dial. So what I'm doing there is taking some Rodico, which is also great for cleaning, not just for holding, and kind of tapping the top of the movement there. Of course, make sure your hands are out of the way first, and then just kind of getting rid of any little imperfections that you see. And there was even some on the paint, so I just wanted to make sure that that dial looked absolutely perfect. You can also take a piece of wood, as you can see that I'm doing right here, to clean off even more imperfections. This piece was actually provided to me in my last watch build that I did, where I got the DIY Watch Club kit from DIY Watch Club. This kit was provided in it. So a lot of these tools I'm using is from that particular build, which is awesome to help me get started on this watchmaking journey. Look at that, I even found some on the inside of the case again. Give it some more air, make sure it's squeaky clean, again with the cloth, and I think we're good to go finally. So back together goes the watch, and same process again as we did before. Remember, this is a learning experience, so you know, sometimes you just gotta take it apart and put it back together. It's all part of the process, really. And look at that, I even found some specks of dust on the rotor. It's all about cleanliness here. It's all about cleanliness. All right, in goes the stem and crown again, hopefully for the final time. Make sure it's nice and tight. And I think we're finally done. One last quick burst of air, and now it's on to the case back. Now I chose the exhibition case back, which is how you can see the rotor and movement inside. Here's another important step. There is a ring inside that case back case. You want to make sure that ring is nice and lubricated so so no condensation or any kind of water liquid gets inside the case. Very important. That little pad has a bunch of lubricant in it. I think it was a few dollars on AliExpress, but it makes a world of a difference. Now it's time to place the case back onto the case. Make sure that little gasket is not caught in between the threads. This little blue thing is actually a deflated rubber ball. I gotta put some air in it, but it works just the same. It just basically gives a nice grip on the case back. That way you can make sure there's a nice tight seal on the case and case back. All right, now it's time for the final part of the build, and that is the bracelet. For this bracelet, I chose the Oyster-style bracelet, much like the Oyster bracelet that come on Rolexes. This actually was very solid steel, no hollow end links or anything like that. The spring bars that it came with are not quick release, but that's okay. Just gotta use a tiny flathead screwdriver to kind of push them in place. And while I'm fiddling with this, I just wanted to take a second to thank you all for watching this channel. If you have gotten this far, please comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what you like about these builds. Let me know what you don't like about these builds. Let me know what you want to see more in the future, because I also do the reviews of watches under $1,000. This one in particular costs me about $120. That's without tools or anything like that, which the tools, as I said before, I had received with the DIY Watch Club toolkit, which gives me all the tools I needed in order to complete these kind of builds. So yeah, this is something fun that I just want to share with you guys and continue on with my skills as an artist, and hopefully I would like to start selling these on Etsy, but with custom painted dials, much like this one. This one was very simple. However, I can paint many other things besides names and calligraphy. I can do pretty intense artwork from cars. That's one of my other hobbies that I like painting, is artwork on cars. I like painting, you know, animals, people, you name it, I can paint it. Backgrounds, I think I want to do a cherry blossom one, which will be very cool to do. I do want to do some cool headlight type stuff where you can see like the halos of headlights on supercars, stuff like that. Basically anything you can think of, I can attempt to paint, and you know, I'd love to start selling these watches on Etsy or eBay, or have my own website. But yeah, this has just been really fun for me. My next build is actually going to be another one for a family member. It's going to be a Day-Date with a fluted bezel, and the dial is going to be Arabic dial, and this one will also have calligraphy on it, all with parts from AliExpress. So please like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for this next build. It should be in the next few weeks. I think next week I will be doing the review of the pilot watch that I built. I've had it on now for almost a month now, and it's still running great. So there you have it. There is the final watch. Man, is that thing gorgeous. Thank you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.